not a slumber party.
This is a guys chill out right here on The Cave.
Welcome. This is your boy. Yes, this is your boy DJ Cave alongside with the man,
the one, the only DJ Stone.
Okay, so before he even decides to carry on, I'm gonna say that I'm actually going to take up DJ Stone's challenge, just not today. Next week, if you wanna listen to the show, next week when you listen to the show, make sure that you tune in and you keep your ears open, because yes, I'll be taking up DJ Stone's challenge, like I said, just not on this show. And yes, we'll see who's going to have the better intro.
I am a winner, man. I cannot lose in anything. Even when
I don't think you'll be able to handle this one, so you might just want to prepare your ego.
Oh, I'm going to win. I'm gonna win for just the sheer pleasure, man. Just to win. Like, I don't need a prize, just to show that I have the best intro ever.
Okay,
you know,
whatever.
That's what it is.
if you say so. So it's gonna be a hashtag the cave intro or whatever we're gonna name it. So yes. So anyway, we are back on another episode of The Cave Show, and you know we always give you that fire. We bring up the best topics. So today we are going to be discussing substance abuse. So yeah, today we are discussing substance abuse. Obviously, a lot of us should be aware of what substance abuse is. We're just obviously going to give you a couple of different perspectives, as we do in every show, our own perspectives, and just to give people a little bit of an eye opener and stuff like that. So yes, we are speaking about substance abuse. So before we give you the lowdown on what this topic has for you, so we are going to go into this music. Active FM, Christ music is hot music, and radio has never been better.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Active FM.
Hot presenters,
the best topics, the most entertaining presenters, everything you could ever want in radio.
We're lifting Jesus up, we're lifting Jesus up, we're lifting.
Radio has never been better. Yes, so we are back right here on the Cave Show. It is myself and of course your man DJ Stones, and we are speaking substance abuse, another interesting topic. And yes, I'm not gonna speak too much, but I'm just gonna give you a brief description on substance abuse for those of you that are not aware or that want to get a clear definition. Substance abuse is the abuse of any substance such as drugs, alcohol, whatever the case may be, but specifically on drugs and alcohol because it's the most common of all. And something like alcohol, which is not necessarily meant to be harmful to your body, can end up being harmful because of overusing it, and it's actually quite interesting. So obviously, apart from drugs which naturally harm your health, alcohol on the other hand doesn't necessarily directly affect your health unless you start taking it a lot. So now we have this case of substance abuse. It's all over the world, it's everywhere, in our homes, in our communities, in the people around us. And sometimes some of us happen to be unfortunate to have that happen to our family members, whereby we have brothers, sisters, uncles, fathers abusing substance. And it's a shame to say that substance is actually killing a lot of homes. So DJ Stones, what do you have to say with that?
Man, substance abuse, whether it's drugs, whether it's alcohol, it has an effect, man. Maybe not a harmful effect yet, but it does something mentally. It does something, it will do something mentally. It can do something to your lungs. It can do something to your kidneys, man. You know, it can do real damage to you regardless of what form it comes in, and not only to you but to the people around you, man. Because sometimes you just think about how substance abuse hurts the individual, but even people around them. Like you have cases whereby a drunk, abusive father beats up their children and stuff because the person was deep inside their substance. You know, you have kids who are selling out their mom's things so that they can get money to have drugs. And I'm looking at the statistics so far where there's been 307,400 deaths since on like on substance abuse in 2015. And now that is crazy. In a single year, having that amount of deaths is crazy.
Very crazy.
And you know, people will always try to find a way to justify it, you know. Like when you speak about cannabis, people will tell you, no, weed is not a drug and stuff, but it all starts there. It all builds an addiction. So it all starts somewhere. Like you have somebody who starts weed, which is cannabis sativa, and what happens is that they think that, oh no, it's not a drug, oh no, it's not going to affect me, but then it grows, you know, it grows from there, and from one high to another high to another high, to the point whereby you are actually abusing a substance, and it's an actual problem, especially in a country like this. We see it happening a lot, and you know, it's a very, very, very serious thing. And I don't think it's something people should take lightly.
Not at all, hey?
Not at all.
So obviously we're speaking drug abuse and substance abuse, and obviously, like I mentioned, these things is affecting a lot of people, and you know, people come with a lot of reasons as to why they abuse drugs. I mean, obviously there's a lot of reasons involved, and we have to be able to look at all aspects. So you get people that were influenced through peer pressure, and most of the times peer pressure it's usually most common in schools, but it's not only in schools. We also have it amongst people who, for example, grew up in a home or a place where it was not so, how can I say, they were not well groomed, and they grew around people who are using drugs, and as a result they ended up using drugs. Or maybe it was just for the fact that a person didn't have a good mentor to actually guide them in the right direction, and not that they grew up necessarily in a bad home, but because they didn't know where to get the right information and how to make the right choices, they ended up in that situation. And obviously we do give some sort of sympathy to the people who ended up in the situation by default because of what was happening around them. But at the same time, it is crazy that in a world like this, where we are so advanced in technology and have so much access to information, and technology is just basically our best friend, people still end up in such traps. I mean, we have people around us, first of all, so basically for some people, they tend not to actually trust people with their lives, and hence they start making wrong decisions, or they just choose to have lack of knowledge. They're like, well, I grew up maybe, for example, drinking alcohol for like 5 hours a day, or I grew up smoking weed all the time, and that's just my life, and they choose to accept it. And I wouldn't really respect a person who actually gets to see the light and choose to stay in the darkness. I mean, for me, it just doesn't make sense. DJ Stones, what do you have to say?
Yeah, man, like you hit it on the nail there. It's a problem when somebody sees the light and they know what they're doing is wrong, but they choose to continue, man. Like, I understand it becomes an addiction over time, and it's really hard to let go of an addiction. But the first step to letting go of an addiction is wanting to let go of the addiction.
Yes.
Nobody can actually help you unless you want to be helped. We can't force you to do something you don't want to be forced to. That's why you have people who end up going into rehab. And what ends up happening is when they come out, you have like after 2 or 3 months they relapse, because in themselves they did not want to change. They were being forced to go to rehab. Maybe their mom told them that they're going to get kicked out of the house and stuff. And the thing they don't understand, they can want to cling on to this whole thing of being a substance abuser and stuff, but they don't understand how it will affect them in the long run. A lot of the old people that are dabbling in drugs and stuff, they started way back, it's either they started way back or they got a lot of money and they don't know what to do with the money, so they end up going on to drugs. But then for the ones that started way back, they are wishing now to stop, because they see that all that drugs does for you is make you lose money. It makes you lose money, it makes you lose time, and those are the two most valuable things on earth right now. It's value, it's time, and it's money. It's if you can't make money, you have a lot of time. If you have enough time, that means you can do something to make money. And now, when you are doing drugs, you're both wasting money and time, which are two resources that you could be using to build a better life, to be changing people's lives. If you have time, you can spend that time on other people and grow them. If you have money, you could help out, or you can help out with different families and stuff. But when you're on drugs, both of those things are eliminated, because you are now spending money on drugs and you are now on drugs. Because now when you are high, it's not like you're going to be high or drunk for a minute and then you walk it off. Now it's going to be for some time, and in that time you are so unproductive, it's scary. In fact, you're not going forward in life, you're actually going backwards in life.
And it's actually quite scary to see what drugs do to people. And it does not necessarily have to be a drug that is very like strong and like really takes you out, but even something as small as weed, because that is something that is common, that is around us. And I've seen it affecting people around me, people that I could consider friends, not necessarily family, even family members, but it's like very bad, the impact that this thing has on people, because now this thing actually influences your decision. And the sad thing about it is that you're also not able to tell a right decision from wrong all the time. Maybe when you're sober, but then even when you're sober, the decisions that you make now are shifted, and it's not the exact same decision that someone who is not on drugs would make. For example, you know that you're in need of something, but because you feel like you have more of a need to fulfill your desire for that substance, it now conflicts your interest, and most of the times people end up going for the substance rather than for what they actually need. So it basically influences your decisions, but in a negative way. So it's actually sad to see people going through that. And especially something else that I also want to share is basically the spiritual aspect of this, because as much as we just see it in the natural, we just see it as a person going through a struggle in the natural with this certain drug, it also has a spiritual aspect to it. I mean, because we are actually spiritual beings. Yes, we live on this earth with these natural bodies, but when we die, our flesh remains and our spirit rises. That's just to show that we are not necessarily beings of this earth. And so when people actually begin to engage in drugs, first of all, there's spiritual forces behind it before you even engage. Now, obviously, you have some sort of influence, maybe from your peers and stuff like that. So in that moment, whatever decision you make is your biggest decision, whether you are going to actually start using the substance and when you don't. And when you have actually decided to now start using the substances, believe it or not, there are spiritual forces that you invite right towards your body and to your life when you begin to take this substance, and that is how you find yourself hooked. And sometimes you try to leave and you find it's hard, and it gets to a point whereby you're now a slave and you cannot get rid of the desire for this substance, but that's because it's no longer in your control. You have given your life over to these substances, and now they are controlling your body, and now the only way for you to actually break out of this is through the blood of Jesus and through prayer and through deliverance. So yeah, what do you have to say about that, DJ Stones?
Yeah, man, no, it's very interesting what you're saying, man. Like you hit it on the nail over there.
Yeah.
Especially with the whole thing of the spiritual side, man. This thing, it actually does something to people, man.
Yeah.
It's not only a physical damage it does, it's not only a mental damage it does, but spiritually you're allowing other types of things to enter your body, you know.
Yeah.
And just speaking about the whole thing you're saying of how it affects your judgment, you know.
Yeah.
You actually see people who do things like weed and stuff, and you can actually see it feels like their intellect is going down.
Yeah.
It feels like they're getting dumber, and it's because, you know, your cannabis actually has a problem. It attacks the brain, the brain cells, you know. And you might not be getting high, you might not be feeling the damages like other drugs, but it's because this one is more slow paced and more lethal. Because, you know, you are actually, even with people who like smoke something like cigarettes, it's very dangerous because you are inhaling carbon dioxide, something that your body releases.
Yeah.
So a waste product that your body is releasing here, you are inhaling it, you know.
Yeah.
But like I said, the only person who can change you is God, and you need to have the ability to actually say, you know what, I want to change. Because if you don't have that ability to say, I want to change, there is no way you're going to change.
Yeah.
No way. It is all about the fact that you want it, number one, and you are going to God with it, because that's where we focus at then.
Yeah.
You know, and substance abuse isn't a happy topic to talk about. You know, people don't feel comfortable talking about substance abuse, especially in this country, because there's quite a number of cases of it that happens. But it's something that has to be challenged. You know, when we see it, we challenge it. Every time we see it, anywhere we see it, any form of it, we see it.
Yeah.
We challenge it because it's not right. But in us challenging, we challenge it in a way where we can teach them. You know, we're not challenging it just to show them that we can challenge them.
Yeah.
We challenge them in a way we can teach them. So if they choose not to learn, it's their choice. You know.
Yeah.
It's their choice not to learn. If they choose to actually learn from what we are giving them, it's their choice at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can't really force somebody to do something that is good for them.
Yeah.
They need to see and understand the goodness that comes with it. And then they have to have trust and faith that what we're going to give them is going to pull them from the problem that there is, which is the whole substance abuse.
True.
And it's very, very important that, you know, they have to, if they're listening to this and they want to actually start going on the path of, you know, stopping to abuse substance, they actually need to change their crowd, you know.
Yeah.
Because the people you are around, the people you are around will be the people that will influence you the most, you know. So if you're around people who are also doing some substance abuse, you're also going to fall under it, you know. That's how it works.
Yeah, true.
That's the law there. Whoever you surround are the people who are going to influence your life. So it's very, very, very important that you actually also watch your crowd, you know, because you're going to end up going back to your old ways. And just being focused, man, this thing ruins your focus, and it's bad because you constantly need to be focused. If you're not focused, you can get caught off guard.
Yeah. You
know, with life itself. I'm not talking about physically get caught off guard. I'm saying life in general will catch you off guard.
Yeah, true.
And there are things that can happen in life, and if you're not ready for it, it will show you flames.
Yeah. I mean,
those are my thoughts.
I mean, it's weird, but at the same time, it makes sense that just using substance, even if you're not to the point whereby you're hooked, it hinders you from a lot of opportunities. Like, for example, even in jobs, if they have to find out that you're a substance abuser, they're most likely not to take you, and you have a rare chance, depending also on what type of work are you looking for. I mean, if it's a job that requires some sort of intellect or skill, and you're most likely not to be hired, because eventually they'll feel like you'll start lacking and you won't be able to fulfill what the job criteria has for you, basically.
So, you know, when we look at some research and we do look at some statistics, which is also very important when we're giving out information like this, you know, we don't want to just give out information and then we don't back up. So I'm gonna be using my information. I'll be giving it in dollars.
Yeah.
Right, so substance abuse from like healthcare, in the healthcare perspective, have ranked up to 150 million US dollars.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Substance abuse, and like this is like all costs. So so the first one is because let's say you get prescribed something, right?
Yeah.
So you get prescribed something and then you end up abusing that type of prescription you got, right? And now the second one is through all costs. So this comes from what you call it, not paying it off a healthcare system, not paying it off any other type of system, just paying it off your people's pockets.
Yeah.
They've paid up to 600 million.
Wow.
So out of their own pockets, using medical aid and medical care cards, they've paid up to 800 million.
Yeah.
That is a lot of money being put in for drug abuse, eh?
Yeah, that is a lot actually. Wow.
Mm-hmm. And the most youth substance abused is alcohol.
Yo, yeah.
So we need with 60% of the study of the people who are studied who are found with alcohol.
Yeah.
So it's something that people really need to look at, man. Like, fights that certain people have with the government, like the whole thing with us being in lockdown, and now they're fighting that bottle stores must be open, and they don't look at stats like this where they see how it also will affect kids.
Yeah.
Because now you have kids who are not going to school.
Yeah.
Some of them are definitely not under lockdown, you find them walking around and stuff.
True.
And now what will happen is now you have bottle stores that are open, you have them who are not going to school.
Yeah.
And what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, that's true. And
so these are the things that people are not looking at.
Yeah.
And it's very, very important that we look at statistics. We look at what is happening,
Yeah.
We look at how things are affecting us. How many underage drinking can actually happen in a place?
Yeah.
How much underage drinking can actually happen? Which type of areas is it happening? How do we prevent this from actually becoming bigger than it is?
Yeah.
The problem is we have a lot of governments that are speaking about substance abuse, but really doing stuff about it.
Yeah.
Because now these are measures you actually do. You start categorizing places. When I was doing geography, they taught us how to actually break down data.
Yeah.
How if there's a problem, how we can break down to the point of sectors.
Yeah.
Like if you look at the way the lockdown is implemented, it's being implemented to the point of sectors.
Yeah.
So
true.
if they can do it with lockdowns, why can't they do it with other things that are also hurting the nation?
Yeah.
That substance abuse. You break it down all the way to the point of wards.
Yeah.
If your district has an underage drinking problem of this percentage, so if this amount of people were caught with underage drinking, right?
Yeah.
That means all liquor stores in that area are not allowed to open until a specific date.
True.
Those type of things. And what that does, it now helps regulate the amount of alcohol that's going in the country.
Yeah.
And it prevents the substance abuse through alcohol.
Yeah, true.
And those are important stuff.
Yeah, and it's actually crazy how alcohol is actually one of the most the alcohol business or the industry is actually one of the most thriving industries. I'm not sure about all over the world, but I know definitely in South Africa it makes a ridiculous amount of sales, and literally there are people buying alcohol apart from the lockdown, there are people buying beers, wine, whatever it is, alcohol every single day, every hour, minute, whatever of the day. People are drinking, and that's just the reality of what is happening here in South Africa.
Yeah, because we're not really regulating the alcohol that's happening. The only regulation I know of so far, besides the tax, is the age limit. But we should be starting to add more and more regulations to alcohol and to other types of drugs. And the restriction on how to get drugs. It shouldn't be as easy as it is.
Yeah, true.
But it's things that we fight for. It's things that we constantly should be fighting for. And hopefully one day governments wake up.
Yeah.
Hopefully governments wake up. But before we go into the saddest sector, the saddest section of the show, the part where we have to sign off. How much I hate that section.
Tell me about
I just wish we could talk to them the whole day.
Yeah.
Are we gonna take a quick breather? Allow you guys to breathe in some air, and then we're gonna come back to the closing segment. Yeah. Enjoy.
This is Anton Kruger from Kahara River Lodge, and you are listening to Active FM.
right here on Active FM, we bring to you the Active Worship Inception album.
The joy of the Lord is my strength. I rejoice at your word, unfading. I've been set free instantaneously. I find myself in the presence of the cross. Let my life be defined by your endless victory.
You can stream the album on Spotify and Apple iTunes. If you're interested in downloading the album, well, contact us for more info.
Welcome back to the Cave Show with the one, the only DJ Stones, the host who does the most, even when he makes toast. And put your glasses in the air because we are about to have a toast.
Okay, that was good.
Oh, next week you wanna battle this. By next week I'm going to have a whole book, man.
So basically, DJ Stones is going to come up with a whole new intro. I don't know if he's gonna switch up the one that he has now or he's gonna make it from scratch. I'm coming up with a new intro. Believe me, it's going to be fire. You wanna hear our intros? So yes, tune into our show.
And if you guys wanna find out, if you guys wanna catch us, see more content, and maybe just chat to us, you guys can find us on the following social media platforms. You guys can find us on Instagram at ActiveFM777. You guys can find us on Facebook /ActiveFM777. You guys can find us on Twitter at ActiveFM. We have a brand new, awesome looking website where it is www.activefm.co.za. You guys can find us on iTunes Podcast, Google Podcast under the name Active FM. You guys can go onto YouTube and write Active FM and you'll find us. And guess what? There's more. You guys can go onto Spotify and find your show under the podcast section. You guys can go to TikTok and search at Active FM 777 if you want to see your favorite presenters doing crazy things. And after you're done listening to this show and you want more Active FM, you guys can listen to our amazing other shows. We have politics, we have news, we have soccer, we have sports, we have everything here, and you can go catch us on any of our other shows, man. You're gonna enjoy each and every one of them. I know I do. I really do. For those who don't know, I get to listen to some of the shows twice because one of the presenters are living with me. They're my sister. So when they're recording, and then I'm listening. I'm listening. When they record pieces, I'm listening, and you're like, haha. So this is what they're gonna talk about. This is what they're gonna talk about. And when she's preparing, they are my listening. I'm like, this is what they're gonna talk about. So I get to listen to it twice. But the shows are all amazing, man, and you should go check it out. But from myself, DJ Stones, I'm not gonna do any hectic outro because I'm sad right now. I don't want to say goodbye, so I'm not gonna do any hectic outros. So from your host that you love the most, DJ Stones, and
from your host, DJ Cave, we are signing out. But before we sign out completely, I just want to say to our listener out there, please stay safe. If you are abusing substance, this is an opportunity for you to actually turn things around. You can give your life to Christ and just make a change, make a difference. Actually get a different perspective of life and try to live life to the fullest without having to do it the wrong way, because then you're compromising yourself, you're compromising your eternity. But we just want to leave you with some hope. Do not be broken down by this message. Actually take this into consideration and start setting out a new target, a new goal, and of where you want to be, and fight the substance.
Yeah, fight the substance. Everybody put that on your hashtag fight the substance. Right here on Active FM, where radio has never been better.
Active FM. Radio has never been better.